Hello and welcome to another episode of Put Me in Coach on episode 64, Diamondbacks versus Nationals Game 2. Lineup of today, fortunately enough, Ryan Wolfsman went a little bit downhill in the lineup and stuff, playing center field. Pavin Smith playing DH, and then Perdomo went back to the seventh lineup and stuff, and then playing shortstop and stuff. LeJames playing, LeJames Grover playing first base, and Tommy Troy playing left field. And I think that's pretty much it. The rest is the same and stuff. And also Vargas came in the top of the eighth to be the DH, and he came up to hit as well for Pavin Smith. So that's that. It looks like we only got 2 hits and in the whole game. Yeah, we cannot. It doesn't even look like of a time enough to win games like this and stuff. So we've been struggling and stuff, and it's mostly the offense is not really doing anything to help the team very, very well and stuff. And, you got to give a little props to the Nationals because they're playing well, so it's tough for us. So nothing much to say from that. We're going to go pitching-wise enough. Starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is going to be 3-run Rodriguez of Eduardo Rodriguez. Went 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, struck out 5, walked once, and 3 runs. That's why we call him 3-run Rodriguez and stuff. It's kind of crazy of it. He did okay. I'll give to him enough of not giving so much and lately and stuff, but it's what it is. And then the national starting pitcher for today was Zach Lytle. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 hits, struck out 4, walked once, and then gave up 1 run and stuff. So he did a really good job today and stuff. Somehow enough of these Nationals pitchers, enough Foster, now Zach, again, they're playing very well against us. And then the bullpen for the Diamondbacks is Juan Morello, Jonathan Liskia, and Dre Jameson and stuff. He just came up from the minors and stuff, so it's good to see him, but fortunately he didn't do so well. So that's a bummer and stuff. Yeah, we're going cold right now. It just doesn't even look good and stuff. Now we're going to go scoring. There's not a lot, but there was a couple few I had to take out and stuff because, they're boring. So just letting you know enough of it's a little bit down sizes of what I'm going to talk about and stuff. Curtis Med hit a 2 home run to make it 2-0 and top of the first, and I was talking trash about this guy when I was watching and stuff, and I just maybe I need to learn my lesson in some ways enough. To me, enough. I was being joking around. It's like, who is this guy? Again, I don't know these players that much and stuff, so they're new to me and stuff, but I guess they can play good baseball somehow and stuff. I was joking around. I was not being very serious or anything and stuff. I was just being silly, and virtually my silliness gave him 2 home run in some ways and stuff. I don't know if that's just my fault in a way and stuff, but in some ways enough, he kind of did shut me up. Something up for that. Lou James Grover hit his RBI triple for his first career base hit to make it 1-2, bottom of the 5th. His parents was there. I think they're proud for their son to get a base hit and an RBI. And Jacob Young in center field totally missed the ball and didn't read it very well and stuff, and that's why Grover got a triple and stuff. So kind of crazy to think about that and stuff. So good for him. And then Dylan Cruz hit a solo home run to make it 3-0, bottom of the seventh. Top of the seventh, I meant to say. And then Nunez, Nazem Nunez, hit a RBI single to make it 5-1, top of the ninth, and the final score is 1-6. And our record right now is 33-31, so we're 2 up over 500. And right now, the Nationals are actually 1 up over 500. So they were 500, now they're 1 up. So yeah, it just didn't really look good. I keep saying about this offense and stuff. We're talking about progress right now and stuff. It's just like I don't know. I guess it's just good pitching on the other side, and it's just that's the toughest thing of enough. I wish this offense can do good, and they can and stuff. It's just a matter of fact of if they cannot do nothing well, enough of a good pitcher can go out there and do good. So I think that's the toughest part about this and stuff. Hopefully enough of they're doing their best, but it's just they're not looking the way they are and stuff. And pitching wise enough, I don't know, Rodriguez, it's just so weird enough of seeing this team of the Nationals starting off 2-0 right away and stuff. I get enough of they do have good players on that team and stuff, but why are you giving up runs in the first inning and stuff? It's crazy to think about that and stuff. And yeah, it's just I don't know, just doesn't look good for the Diamondbacks and stuff. And then fortunately enough for Morello and stuff, that was on Rodriguez person and stuff. And then yeah, Jameson at the end and stuff. It's all over the place and stuff. So we lost the series over the Nationals. The Nationals are doing good. So yeah, it sucks. Hopefully enough tomorrow. We won't. Hope I'm just saying enough. I hope we don't get swept tomorrow and stuff. If we do, it happens. But most enough of we want to go out there and win and stuff. The weirdest thing is enough of I don't even know I can actually watch the game and stuff. It's kind of stupid enough of this and stuff. I guess they're not going to be on D-backs TV, I guess, because that's what I watch, the Diamondbacks and stuff on TV and stuff. They do have the channel, but I'm actually watching the D-backs TV on MLB TV and stuff, so all of that. So that's that. But somehow enough, the Nationals are putting on the NBC or SN, I meant to say, and then Peacock. And fortunately enough, that's the app and stuff. And my parents and I don't really, own Peacock and stuff. The only person that actually owned Peacock is one of my sisters and stuff, and the others don't really use them that very much and stuff. So again, I don't know. We might ask or something, or I might go over to my sister's house and watch the game there. I could actually do that instead if I would think about it and stuff. I'll probably give a call or anything if they're interested to watch the game as well. Who knows and stuff. But if not, then I'm just gonna hang out with my mom and stuff later on. But we'll see what's gonna happen tomorrow and stuff. If I can actually watch, I actually saw because I have LG channel on TV and stuff. I do have the Fire Stick, completely different overall and stuff. But LG channel is kind of like regular channel, but it's not like Cox or anything. There's no cable anything and stuff. So it's a little bit TV, you can watch whatever, it's what it is and stuff. But I saw NBC Sports Now, and I don't even know that's called, Sports Network or something, whatever. I don't know what it is. And so I was going to the time enough of where it actually starts, because tomorrow it starts at like around 12:15, I believe it starts tomorrow and stuff. So that is that. And then I was just not finding it on the TV because it's giving me like no information to it and stuff. So I have no idea and stuff. But if that doesn't work and stuff, then I need to go and maybe, you know, call my sister enough of like, can I come over to watch with you guys the ball game on Peacock? If so, that's pretty much of that. And generally enough, I think my mom does have like Peacock like on Prime as well and stuff. But again, I think you need to pay like more of a subscription to watch live sports, I guess, and stuff. And they don't have that, so yeah, I don't know. It's something about it, but it's what it is. But there's another thing I want to talk about. I'm not done with this podcast right now for today. I want to talk about other things in baseball today and stuff. Currently enough of right now to June 3rd to June 25th is unfortunately enough of phase one from the All-Star voting and stuff. So go out there and vote for your best players, or uh, who earns to go to the All-Star and stuff. Doesn't matter who you pick and stuff. That's matter up to you and stuff. I want to tell you who I picked for the 2026 All-Star roster, or just me voting and stuff. So we're talking about all of them. I'm not going to talk so much about it, but I'll talk to you about who I pick and why I picked. There's multiple typical things here and there why I picked them and stuff. One reason enough of I picked these guys were enough of they deserve to go to the All-Star and stuff. I've mostly picked of the ones that are very doing so well, of the highest and stuff. Not the most of the highest, just some ways enough. Like in my opinion about like, okay, like I can see this guy is doing pretty good, and there's a reason why and stuff. So it's typical things here and there and stuff, and you would actually understand of the people I actually choose and stuff, because honestly enough, every person I actually choose look like an all-star at this time. So there's no thing like about like, oh, I pick my favorite players and stuff, like Bryce Harper or anything like that and stuff. Like I didn't pick those guys. So you gotta really understand, think about that and stuff. So starting off with American League, I'm going to first base, all the positions and stuff, like pretty much of that and stuff. For the American League, I got Munetaka Murakami, is that how you say it? And stuff, the first baseman for the White Sox and stuff. He been smashing. So he looked good, and it looks like he was the most like clear of it. I think, and he's gonna go in the All-Star, especially starting for first base for the American. Hopefully, of enough of it. My second base I picked was Ernie Clement for the Blue Jays and stuff. Fortunately enough, I just looked of he has the most best average hitting overall, over 300 and stuff. So that's the only why I picked him and stuff. But overall, he's still like a good baseball player for the Blue Jays and stuff. Third base, I picked Junior Caballero for the Rays and stuff. He looks out there hitting very well and stuff. Shortstop, I pick Colson Montgomery for the White Sox. He's also up there. Somehow, enough of the White Sox are doing really, really good and stuff. Catcher, I choose Shea Langelier, is how you say it and stuff. Playing for the Athletics. He's also smashing balls over there in Sacramento and stuff, all these typical things and stuff. And then my three outfielders I picked and stuff. Number one, I picked Aaron Judge, obviously enough for the Yankees and stuff. why not to pick up the captain of the Yankees and stuff. He's been hot lately at this time and stuff. My second outfielder is Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners. He's doing good as well. And number 3 of my outfielder is Mike Trout for the Angels. And it's fortunately enough on a bad team, but somehow enough we got Mike Trout back in his prime look or whatever and stuff. But he's doing really good as well. So that's that. And then my DH is Yordan Alvarez for the Astros and stuff, and he's also doing really, really good and stuff. Really slow from the Astros overall and stuff, but somehow enough, DH is working for him today and stuff. We're going to go to the National League and stuff, starting off for first base. Matt Olson from the Braves, he's been smacking a lot and stuff, a lot of home runs over lately and stuff, and I just know he's just a great, defense player, first base, good person overall and stuff. I really like Matt Olson a lot. He's one of my favorites players up there on the Braves and stuff. I like Austin Riley as well, but I didn't pick him for my third baseman and stuff. But fortunately enough of that. But somehow enough, like it's really, really fun to watch Matt Olson playing good baseball and stuff because he's been a good baseball lately till when he was on the Athletics. So it's just, it makes more sense enough for that and stuff. Second base, I pick Brandon Lau for the Pirates and stuff. Who knew enough of this guy would absolutely help for the Pirates and stuff, and doing really good. Third base, I pick Nolan Arenado for my Arizona Diamondbacks. Come on, let's go. I don't know why. I can't really figure out enough of who else I would pick, but this guy is... he's been doing good with RBIs and stuff, so that's why I picked him of enough. And he also deserved it. And also, I wanted to see Nolan Arenado making the All-Star in a Diamondbacks uniform. He did it with the Rockies. He did it with the Cardinals. He can do it with the Diamondbacks for sure of that. Shortstop I pick is Elliot De La Cruz for the Reds. Like, no doubt about it. One of the best shortstop out there over... Bobby Wood Jr., clearly enough of why I did not pick Bobby Wood Jr. because Elliot Cruz just has better numbers over Bobby Wood Jr. and stuff. Like, I'm not saying enough of Bobby Wood Jr. is nothing compared to Elliot Cruz and stuff, but, Bobby Wood Jr. is still number 1 shortstop out there right now for the American League. The National League, and currently enough of why you thinking I did not pick why I picked Carlos Colson Montgomery and stuff. Again, I got switched enough of NL and AL a little bit and stuff. The only thing I picked Montgomery over Bobby Wood Jr. because just the numbers and stuff. Like, it just looks like Bobby Wood Jr. Like, I have a feeling Bobby Wood Jr. will be an all-star this year and stuff. Just for me, I'm not picking for Montgomery over Witt is basically he just has better numbers and stuff. And fortunately enough, same thing with Elliot Cruz. He just had better numbers and stuff over than other shortstops out there and stuff like Mookie Betts and stuff. Catcher, I pick Drake Baldwin for the Braves. I heard good things of this guy enough to be one of the best catchers in baseball right now and stuff, and he's really showing that and stuff. Same thing with the Braves of enough. Speaking of the Braves enough, I'm going to talk about my 3 outfielders for the National League and stuff. Number 1 is Michael Harris the second for the Braves and stuff, because I don't know, there's something interesting about the Braves team and stuff. There's a reason enough of their 42 and 20 or 21 or whatever record they have. They have the best record in baseball right now, so it shows enough of how good they are and stuff, and it totally makes more sense enough to see more of them be on the All-Star and stuff. So you're going to see more of it and stuff. Like, it's so interesting enough to see Elder, or Eldon, or whatever his name is, just being part of the All-Star. I didn't even know who this is before and stuff, and this was, like, back then enough for, like, when Perdomo and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. made the All-Star in, like, 2023 or whatever and stuff. And Elderlin and stuff, as a starting pitcher for the for the Braves and stuff. I don't know who that was, but somehow enough he did good to be part of the All Star, I guess, because we can't vote pitchers and stuff. But somehow enough he actually went downhill at the very end and stuff because Braves didn't really do so well and stuff. But now he's actually doing really good, especially with the other starting pitchers for the Braves and stuff. And that's why they have the best record right now and stuff. So you're going to see these guys to be in the All Star. It makes more sense enough. My second outfielder I pick is Mickey Moniak on the Rockies and stuff. Speaking enough of you thinking about people on a really bad team overall and stuff, but actually doing really good numbers and stuff. So he's up there of it. And my 3 outfielder I pick is James Wood for the Nationals and stuff. I know we're playing the Nationals right now and stuff, but fortunately enough, it makes more sense. James Wood is actually doing pretty good overall and stuff, so that's why I picked him. In DH, I picked Kyle Schwarber for the Phillies. You thinking enough of Shohei Ohtani, but again, look at the numbers. This is the reason enough of I pick Schwarber over Shohei and stuff, because the numbers don't lie. Okay, so this is the reason I picked the people who actually deserve to go to the All-Star and stuff. These are the reason why I picked them, and to me enough, I feel like I did a great job of picking these players and stuff. Mostly enough, I sometimes enough, I do my best enough to pick the people who actually choose to go to the All-Star, but sometimes enough I think about enough of my favorite players and stuff, think about Carson Kelly or Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant. Fortunately enough, Chris Bryant's injured still and stuff, just all those typical things here and there and stuff. So I didn't think about that in this way enough, so I just had to think about just enough of just big, who thought enough would be the best to go to the All-Star this year and stuff. And I looked at the numbers, and I picked the highest numbers overall and who deserved it and all this stuff. And I think in every person I picked for the American League and the National League are willing to go to the All-Star overall and stuff. And I believe of that and stuff. I believe enough of I picked number 1 overall enough of these guys are going in the All-Star and stuff. So that's pretty much of that and stuff. And if you think about enough of pitching wise enough of it, if I would guess enough of who's going to pitch and stuff, I feel like Polskin's going to pitch opening day and stuff and anything. Honestly, of enough, now I'm thinking about it, enough, yeah, it'd be cool if Paul Skeens starts and stuff. He done it before. We don't need to see again overall and stuff. We would like to see another one of him, but it's not necessary. I think the only person it would actually absolutely start the All-Star is Mizorowski. I think that would be a really good way to start the younger, obviously, yeah, he is kind of similar like Paul Skeens in a way enough to come in and stuff, but he didn't start from last time and stuff, and somehow enough, I thinking for him showing up a little bit more and stuff, so we might have Brewers versus Yankees situations because I thinking that the Yankees could put young pitcher on their team as well and stuff. I think he deserved to start for the American League as well. So I think those are a really good pick overall and stuff. So that's pretty much of what I could absolutely say of that. And so fortunately enough for that is get your voting in and stuff. It started in June 3rd. Right now it's June 6th right now and stuff. And you have June 25th for phase 1 and stuff, and then phase 2 will start in June 29th to July 2nd and stuff. And if I would think enough of when the All-Star is coming up, because I do have it on my homework on everything and stuff, July 14th, I believe, it's when the All-Star game and stuff. So excited for next month and stuff. But yep, so that's pretty much of that. So yeah, I'm gonna end the episode here. Hopefully, we can win tomorrow and ignore the sweep from the Nationals and stuff. So I think that's the most biggest thing about that right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.